We're good to go.
Sounds good. I'd like to welcome everybody to the City of Salem's Salem URA Finance Committee meeting for November 18th. Present are Gonzalez.
Nishioka.
Glenn, okay, perfect. And staff or visitors, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Sealy City Manager.
Josh Eagleson, Chief Financial Officer.
Kelly Leinenbaum, Budget Manager.
Tammy Stars, Public Works Engineering Admin Manager.
Krishna Nambodi, Deputy City Manager, Enterprise Services.
Shane Matthews, Councilor Light Board 3.
Brian Martin, Public Works Director.
Shana Thomas, Admin Analyst.
And that's everyone in the physical room.
Alicia Blaylock, Assistant Director, Public Works.
And Marla Alvarez, Public Works Financial Services Manager.
Lily Blake Schmidt, Management Analyst. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And we'll move on to the second item, which is approval of the minutes from our October 21st Finance Committee meeting. And I'd entertain a motion for approval.
I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
All right, moved by Gwen, seconded by Nishioka. All those in favor say aye or the thumbs up.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. And any public comment, Josh?
No, not today.
Thank you. Thank you. So, for action item, we have the utility fund policy amendment. So Josh, I'm assuming I'm handing it back to you to share a little bit about that.
Very briefly, I think through the COSA process, Public Works identified a slight change they'd like to make to the policy C14. So they're going to speak to that change and ask for a motion to bring it to the City Council.
Hey, Josh, just for the sake of the public, can you just identify what COSA is?
Yeah, so the COSA, the cost of service analysis.
Yes, thank you. So Brian Martin, again, Public Works Director. One of the key financial indicators that we'd like to have in place is the amount of unrestricted days of cash on hand. That helps us cover our debt payments, provides 120 days of operating expenses, and it also contributes to our Moody's bond rating. And for decades, we've had to occasionally go out and get bonds to deliver some of our larger projects, and keeping that bond rating at the Moody's level or above is very important to us in case we have to do that again. So we are working our way to retiring some of our prior bond debt. However, there's a good chance we'll have to bond again at some time in the next 5 years or so. So anyway, this metric keeps us in compliance with that AA bond rating by Moody's, and something is a good management practice.
So just to clarify, Brian, so you're sorry, Mr. Chair. So if you're looking at it, it's on the packet, page 10, that shows the addition to the policy. And it's just adding that one bullet point, the new number 6.
Correct. Yeah, in the packet, it's highlighted in blue.
Any questions for Brad? No, seems like no questions. Let's see. So this definitely will help us with our credit rating. Is that one of the main reasons too? I heard that.
Yep, that's one of the main reasons. It's also to make sure we have enough cash in the bank, I guess I'll say, so that if we ever have any emergencies, we have enough to continue running our business.
So, Chair Gonzalez. Yes. So I was on the wastewater task force, and at the time we were giving the rates and the amount of days. It was clear that we would be going under during certain times, and so I think that this is a mechanism to make sure that we have enough funding available when needed. So I think that this will be a good thing and protect funding available when you have work that needs to get done.
Yeah, sounds like a great policy to me too. Thank you for that, Nishioka. Gwen, any comments?
No, I was on that committee as well, so I understand where we're coming from.
On this one, Josh, do we need a motion? Do we need our consensus? What do you need from us?
We would be looking for a motion, yes, please.
That sounds good. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the utility fund policy amendment.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Gwen, seconded by Nishioka. All those in favor say aye or thumbs up. Aye.
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 Any opposed? Sounds good. Motion passes, Josh. Move on to
Thank
number
you.
5, which is what?
So number 5 is a very large chunk of paper if you're in the room, or a large section of your packet if you're online. And this is just the quarterly investment update. I don't have anything specific I'd like to note. I'm happy to address any questions you all might have if you've had a chance to review it. And if you haven't had a chance to review it and you look at it again tomorrow or next week and you have a question, you'll feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Josh, is there anything of concern, anything of note that us, our constituents would need to know or should know?
Not necessarily right now. I mean, we're just kind of in a holding pattern. This is for the quarter ended September 30th. So I'm interested to see the next quarterly report. I think it'll be a little more telling. If you've been following the last week or the week before, we saw the Fed rate go down by another quarter point. So we're monitoring all of that. We have a lot of treasury bonds out there invested. So just monitoring that, but nothing of concern at this point.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, Councilor Nishioka.
I was gonna say, when will we see the last quarter? When will we see that? Okay.
Yeah, so it'll likely be at your February meeting.
At the February meeting. Okay.
It will be the quarter in December. So it takes a little longer formally and then get it back to them.
All right, thank you. Sounds like we'll be doing so.
Any other comments, Councilor Gwen, before we move on?
No, I reviewed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Perfect, Josh.
Should we continue? Next item?
Yes. Yes, next item.
So the next item is the capital improvement CIP development update. We have a presentation.
We do.
Share that.
Hello, again, I'm Tammy Stars, Public Works Engineering, and I am the lead on the 5-year capital improvement plan. And I just got a short presentation. So part of policy C9 that council updated and approved in July was that I would come to at least 4 meetings during the year as part of this process to give the finance committee an update on how we're doing in the CIP and the development of it, and also give you guys a chance to see what we're doing, what projects are upcoming. So I just wanted to, so far, we're early in the process right now, so I'm just gonna take you through what we're doing right now. So our objective for the CIP is to create a transparent CIP process, and we're directed by policy C9. One of the biggest things, other than coming to this committee, is we also increased our project size from $50,000 to $100,000. We're to establish a risk-based priority list, and we match the priority list to our limited resources in a thoughtful and responsible manner. So, go ahead, change slides, thank you. So it's a team effort. So we have committee meetings, and our committee meetings, we meet with all the different infrastructure categories: water, sewer, storm, parks, transportation, urban development. throughout probably about 7 months of the year. And right now, we're in that phase of committee meetings. We're adding new issues, we call issues, which could become a project. We review the current issues that have not been funded. And we also look at our master plans. We have several master plans right now that are in the process of being updated, our water and wastewater master plans. And from those will come projects as well. We're going to be moving on into scoring in the next couple of weeks. At the next meeting that I come to, I will have a report on how many new issues that we've gotten during the last couple months that we've been meeting in the different infrastructure categories.
What's the difference between an issue and a project?
They're pretty much the same thing. It's just what we call them. We call them an issue. They become a project.
Because they don't have funding yet.
Right.
Okay.
I would also add, it could be an issue, but we don't know the scope. So as part of the meetings, we figure out, okay, how could we go about taking care of this issue?
So once we finish with scoring and prioritizing, then we move into programming of funding. We look at our available funding that we have from a multitude of funding sources. And as I'm sure you know, a project cannot be in the CIP if it is not funded. So in order to be in our CIP, it has to be funded. Then we build the CIP document, we draft it, and we go to management. So we first go to Public Works Management. So I first take it by the engineering management team. It also, the urban development goes by Kristen for her to review, and she's in all of our committee meetings as well. And then it goes before Brian Martin and the management team for Public Works as well. And then once those approvals are received, we put it into the software. Along with that same time, we're doing presentations to different groups. We do SPRAB. The city manager has now asked us to go to Planning Commission, the neighborhood quarterly chair report, chair meeting, along with the neighborhood associations. And then it goes to public hearing. And that's where you guys will be seeing it first. You'll be seeing a draft in February. So go ahead, next slide. So our areas of focus this year, we continue to identify grant opportunities so we can get the most bang for our buck. We've already applied for the McGilchrist culvert, which will go along with those McGilchrist improvements. We're also working on the River Road Slide Mitigation, a Protect grant through the Department of Transportation.
So I know that there's been applications. Has there been any awards yet for River Road?
No. So we're going for River Road. Last year, we went for the whole shebang, 23 million. When we had our debriefing, what we're finding is a lot of the federal grants are wanting us to be shovel ready to go. And so we are now going for a design. They're calling it a planning grant, but it's for final design of that project. And then we're also going for the Garren Island Bridge replacement through BRIC. We were 2 points off for being awarded that, being in the we were 76% and everybody above 78% was awarded. So it was kind of a
So
yeah,
close.
but we know they told us where we were at, so we're going back out for this round, and should be in March. And so we should have a great application. I'm very hopeful.
It's nice that they will kind of tell you some of the things that made and made. So,
Right. So they're highly competitive though. That's what we're finding. So we're going to continue refining and scoping and estimating our project. Project costs are going up, as everybody's aware. We're continuing to update our master plans. Our wastewater master plan a draft should be coming in May or June of 2025. They're working on the draft project list now. Water, we should have a draft in January, February of 25, and we have received the project list. So as we get those, we'll also be working on strategies on those higher cost projects, such as the Franzen Reservoir cover, the transmission main, on how we can strategize to fund those large projects. We're gonna finalize our updated scoring criteria. And the next couple of months, I'll be bringing that to you, to the committee as well for you to see. So we have updated scoring criteria. So all scores will be, the highest score received would be 100 points. And it's based on infrastructure category. And then we have been asked to add a climate action to the scoring criteria. We haven't done that yet, but we will be doing that. Okay. And that's about what I have for my first presentation.
And when can we expect you back? What kind of cadence?
I think the best time to come back would be at the January meeting, the January, February meetings.
Sounds good. Any questions? You know, I'm looking forward to that new criteria. I'm looking forward to seeing it, even though I won't be on the committee, but I'll still visit you all. Thank you.
You're always welcome.
Thank you. So if no further questions or comments. I see you, Nishioka. I see you thinking. No?
Yeah, I just thanked her for being here.
Oh, that's
Hearing the presentation.
perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Great presentation. Thank you. Right. Self-funded paid family leave, pay leave. I'm looking forward to hearing this. This is
Yeah, I'll kick it off and I'll turn it over to Michelle. I think this is I would call it an exciting opportunity, as exciting as you can get at the finance committee, I guess. I've heard a lot about this in the finance space, and Michelle's heard a lot about it in the HR space. So we're just bringing you a proposal. We think this is something that we can do administratively. We want the finance committee to weigh in on it, just make sure there's no concerns. But basically, right now, we're fully funded with the state paid leave Oregon plan. Michelle will walk through the details, but we'd like to switch to be self-funded. We think there's a pretty substantial savings there across the city. That's why we're bringing it to the finance committee, just seeing if there's any concerns. We don't see many concerns. We just see a lot of advantages for the shift. I'll turn it over to Michelle.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you guys for allowing me to speak. So Paid Leave Oregon was implemented 2 years ago. We started paying into basically like an unemployment tax, if you will, into the state to fund a paid leave benefit. So employees who've earned $1,000 in the previous year can get up to 66% of their wages paid to them through the state for protected leave, medical reasons, and a few other reasons, via an application process through the state. We do have the opportunity of being self-insured for this. And what that looks like is having a reserve set aside to cover those same expenses, that same benefit level for our employees, should they apply and be eligible for protected leave. Right now, it's managed by the state and we get zero information. So they'll send us a notice that says, Jane Doe is eligible for 70 days of protected leave. Jane Doe calls off, says she's using her protected leave, and then the state will let us know that after 70 instances, she no longer has protected leave. And it's kind of a guessing game for us if they've paid her, if they didn't, what her benefits are at the state level. They don't share any information. We have the opportunity to manage this ourselves with a self-funded plan. Employees would get the same benefit level. We would, like I said, create an account, a reserve account to cover the expense rather than paying the state. The numbers that you see in the staff report are estimated costs based on the employees who have used that paid leave benefit for the past year. So when they're filling out their time cards, they're using that benefit as an unpaid leave. So we're able to track it by the person pretty close to the penny. So that's the estimated savings from what we currently pay into the state as that tax. 1% of an employee's wage gets paid to the state, regardless of whether they use it or not. So this would help our human resource department, our managers manage their staff, and it would be a better benefit or a quicker benefit to our employees as well, because there is a 30-day at least delay in getting approval from the state for this benefit. I don't know if you have any other questions more specifically. I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from Michelle? First of all, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
So Michelle, this is Counselor Nishioka. So you made the statement that it takes 30 days through the state. How quickly do you anticipate it taking place if the city is self-funding for this?
Once the employees submit the packet of paperwork, we can have an answer within 2 to 3 days. It's that quick. Currently, we have other forms of protected leave that are not paid. We have an electronic system by which an employee uploads the information and they're getting a approval within 24 hours.
And
We're pretty good.
And so does this changing over to be self-employed for this or self-funded for this, is there a certain number of employees that's needed, or is there what kind of criteria that is the state requiring, or does it?
We have to submit a plan document to the state, which I early on worked with the state and have a draft policy already written that should be acceptable. We just need to make sure that with this last legislative change that nothing has changed in our plan. It takes 30 days for the state to review your plan. As in the staff report, it's a $250 application. And once the plan is approved, we can implement at the beginning of any quarter. So it's very accessible for employers to become self-funded for this program.
Have you been able to determine what savings this might have for the city, or how this would affect, I guess basically I'm just trying to understand the financial benefits or potential risks of it?
Our projected savings between the city of Salem and Salem Housing Authority are approximately $700,000 a year. The way the fund would be set up is that it would be funded to the fullest extent in the event that everyone who was eligible took their leave. We would be setting that money aside to cover those expenses. But I do believe that this would not only help the city financially, but also it would help our managers in managing employee absenteeism. Right now, the way the system is designed between the federal protected leaves and the state paid leave, an employee could take up to 24 weeks of leave in any one given year because they don't necessarily have to overlap the two leaves. By bringing it in-house, we can manage that and make those two run concurrently as best as we can. There are some instances that are exclusions, but that would also help the city in managing its employee attendance issues.
Do those savings take into account the staff time and to manage the program? Or is that simply, you know what I mean? Because this is putting additional work on staff. So is the savings reflected there, or is that 700,000 simply what the city would be paying out? Does that make sense?
100%. My best estimation is that this would be a net zero for time expenditure for our protected leave analyst. He currently is already processing the federal protected leave alongside of the state mandated paid leave. So for him, it would be one application that he's handling rather than federal and then state. So I think the net effect would be equal with the time expenditure for our staff. It would be an easier process for the applicant staff or those who are needing the protected leave because they only have to come to one entity, which would be the city. And we're now
By doing this, are we making it too easy? I mean, no, I'm dead serious when I ask
No,
that question.
I agree.
I don't know that someone who's going through a health crisis, I don't know that too easy is a descriptor word. I think we are facilitating the process for them, but I do believe that by bringing it in-house, it gives us more control of what is and isn't approved and what supporting documents we receive versus what the state is getting.
Well, but it's not just a serious injury or illness. I mean, it's, you know, the birth of a child, foster care, adoption. You know, there's a lot more to that than just saying this is because a family member or our employee is ill.
Correct.
So
It does.
if I may, if the employees are facing difficult times and they're seeking for this benefit, we do want to make it easy for them to apply for it, right? So, so I don't think making it like streamlining the process, bringing the efficiency to how it is applied and how it is managed, I think it's a good thing on both sides.
Oh, Mr. Chair, you're muted.
Any other comments, questions, Councilor Gwynn? Did that help you?
Yes, that was helpful. Thank you.
No, great questions. You know, so I mean, I think you know, this is something I didn't even realize we could do. You know, I'm pretty familiar with this program, and the rollout has been bumpy, which I think was expected. You know, statewide. So I don't think that was a surprise. But at this point, I have a question, Michelle. Any other cities? Have any other cities that you know have taken steps to do this? Anybody ahead of us?
I think there's only 2 cities that do this. Most of the other cities that are self-funded have hired a third party to administer their plan. We have had bad experience with a third party managing our protected leave. And so we wouldn't want to outsource it like that. We'd rather bring it in-house. We have an amazing benefits or protected leave administrator who is so very responsive. It does allow us to provide a personal touch with our employees as they're going through these situations and celebrate with them when they're having babies or adopting babies. We love that too. I can't remember off the top of my head the 2 cities that are self-funded, but I can certainly get that information if you'd like.
So Michelle, if I may add to this, I think where we are uniquely positioned here is you and the team has worked on in bringing some automation or the technology solutions to administer this too. So we are in a different position to administer this, this process than other cities I have to say.
Correct. We do have an electronic application system for the protected leave. So this would flow very smoothly into that system already.
Yeah, that's great news.
I'll ask another question and either Michelle or Krishna can answer. It would seem to me that this would actually benefit applicants that are applying for a job to know that this was something available that was with the city and potentially even for retention by making a correct assumption.
Yeah, the better experience we can provide for employees to kind of seek these benefits. We have better retention, right? So we want to make sure we are taking care of them. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So based on this, and I just like other, the city, we have some other things we self-fund, self-insure. This being new, is there a time you can come back to check in or at least give us an update? Or when will be a good time for us to touch bases again to make sure we're on the right track, that we are on track to realize these savings? And, of course, there's going to be some bumps and stuff, but when's a good time that we can check in again on this? Or either the committee or the council can hear an update. It will be a good time.
If I may, Michelle, I think probably after we have, 6 months, we could do a brief update, that maybe a fuller update after a full year. It's gonna take a little while. We won't really realize the savings until we have that reserve balance built. So that 700,000, and we're gonna need to make sure we just let that accrue to make sure we cover that liability. And then, in out years, we'll be able to lower the contributions as we see what the experience is of people actually taking that leave versus how much we're paying in, so we can lower the contributions at that point. So I think a year is a good check-in to see how that's going. I don't know, Michelle, do you have another thought?
Yeah, absolutely. I think financially a 1-year check-in, but we certainly can provide you with the 6-month update if you'd like to know how the system is working, if we're seeing any savings as far as time management goes with our employees. We certainly can capture some of that data as well. So we're happy to share. We make data-driven decisions here, so.
So do you need anything from this committee?
At this point, no, we don't need any approval. You'll see some changes in the next year's budget, but for this year, implementing in April, we feel like we can accommodate that in the benefits funds that we already have budgeted. We already have a reserve set up there. So we'll provide more information as we go through the budget process for what that. It'll be a new cost center set up in the benefits fund if you want to know the detail. We'll show it a little bit separately in the budget display. And you'll be able to monitor that separately from all the other benefits that we have also.
I think that's a good idea. It's like, well, I'd like to know what bucket of money it's in.
Yeah, Fund 365.
365? Sounds like a full year.
All right. Any other questions or comments on this last item?
Oh, if I may.
Yes.
I would
yes,
just
Michelle.
like to say, if we decide that it's not working for the city for whatever reason, we can revert back to paying the state and they're managing it for us. So we can do this and not feel like we have to continue if it's just not working out for us. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
That's a great point, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you for telling me that. I was trying to understand the risks and benefits, and that's certainly a benefit to going ahead. So thank you.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good. Sounds like we're done. Number 5, 6 or 7, continued new business. Josh, anything else on that we don't have?
No new business. I do want to note that we're working hard to get our annual report finished up for your December 16th meeting. So we would like to keep that one on the books. We're hoping to have our auditors here to present the fiscal year 2024 financial report. Which would be really nice to have that done in December.
Yeah, I'll be available. I will be here.
Excellent.
All right. Well, sounds good, Josh. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And this meeting's adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
I know that Council